right now. Call 800-651-4888. 800-651-4888. 800-651-4888.
What's happening? What does it mean? Why is it important? We've got the answer. AM560, The Answer.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Lacera. He has no expectation of persuading Israeli leaders to drop their opposition to the Iran nuclear deal. Defense Secretary Ash Carter set to meet with his Israeli counterpart.
We believe that the nuclear deal promotes the security in the region, the American strategy, and also the defense of Israel.
Carter now in Tel Aviv. He's also set to travel to Saudi Arabia and Jordan to consult on the implications of the Iran deal.
John McCain is an American hero.
Wisconsin Governor and Republican presidential candidate Scott Walker firing back at Donald Trump after Trump's comments about John McCain's military service.
And I'll stand up and defend him and any other veteran, particularly a veteran who served our country as a prisoner of war. That's just outrageous to say those sorts of things, and I think not just other candidates, but I think Americans, regardless of party, need to stand up and call on the same, including some who are supporters of Mr. Trump.
Yesterday, Trump said McCain's a war hero because he was captured. McCain was shot down over Vietnam and was held as a prisoner of war for 5 years. He refused early release when his captors found out his father was a Navy admiral. McCain has not responded to comments by Trump. Relations between the U.S. and Cuba continue to thaw, with Cuba preparing to reopen its embassy in Washington tomorrow. Republican presidential candidate and Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who is Cuban-American, saying it's a bad idea.
I would end the diplomatic relations with that anti-American communist tyranny until such time as they actually held a democratic opening in Cuba, allowed people to organize independent political parties, have freedom of the press and freedom of expression.
On CNN State of the Union, the U.S. Embassy in Havana also expected to reopen soon. A second day of showers and thunderstorms in southern and central California expected to again set records for monthly rainfall. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
I'm Paul Bodenloss with a look at the roadways. The Eden Spur Ramp, if you're heading eastbound between Waukegan Road on the Tri-State Spur Ramp down to about the Edens Expressway. Traffic pretty heavy in that section. Also, if you're out on the Kennedy heading inbound between the River Toll Plaza and Canfield, it slows down. O'Hare to downtown, it's 21 minutes. From the junction, it's 10. Also on the Eisenhower, if you head inbound, from Thorndale to the post office, 30 minutes. From Manheim, takes about 17. The Dan Ryan, it's slow between Cermak and the Burns Circle interchange. And the Bishop Ford, pretty heavy between 115th and 103rd because of a stalled semi taking out the left-hand lane. Lakeshore Drive heading southbound, a little heavy between Jackson and 18th. Northbound heavy between 18th and Roosevelt. It's 81 degrees and looking pretty good. Here's a further look at your local weather forecast.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. AM560 on-target radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com or call 877-954-3030. That's 877-954-3030. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Here's some great news. Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates can help you with your retirement game plan. You know Jack, or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Tabota & Associates. He's been helping folks just like you retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955. $1.55.
Mike Rowe here in the home of Cindy Jennings, where she's doing a, what do you call that, Cindy?
My 1 hour happy dance.
Yeah. You see, Cindy, being a smart and surprisingly sure-footed homeowner, called 1 hour the minute her AC started acting up. Cindy knows that with 1 hour in the house, her problem will be expertly diagnosed, and her professional 1 hour technician will be fully equipped to do the job right.
That's right.
For any cooling need, call 855 1 hour and get happy.
I'm twerking.
Yes, you are, and it's perfect for radio. Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it.
I have 2 words for you. Predator drones. You will never see it coming.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues. Here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David and Gretchen will be discussing the racial divide with our guest, the Reverend Dr. Eric Wallace. Reverend Wallace will also be talking about his upcoming conference at the Tinley Park Convention Center, Initiative in Defense of Life, Why All Lives Matter. The July 31st event features Governor Mike Huckabee and Dr. Ben Carson. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So be sure to give us a call at 312-642-5600 or go to Facebook, like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
Never before has it been illegal to simply tell the truth. Is it just me, or does anyone else feel the president is doing everything he can to fractionalize each segment of society from the others? The libs have developed lying into an art form, and they're using that talent to convince blacks that the reason for their condition in life is directly attributed to Republicans. In short, that's a steaming pile of camel dung. The truth of the matter is Democrats in general have a vested interest in keeping the black community right where it is on the socioeconomic scale, in poverty and seemingly dependent upon government largesse to live. It's vote buying at its worst possible way. Race baiters like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson have amassed significant personal wealth by telling blacks the Republicans are the problem. If that's true, how is it that every major city that's on the brink of economic ruin and has an epidemic of black-on-black violence has been ruled by liberal policies for decades, and in a number of instances, such as Detroit, by liberal black politicians? The fundamental difference between the left and the right is the left measures success by the number of people they put on welfare rolls. The right measures success by the number of people they put into career paths with a future and get them off the welfare rolls. Let's get something straight. Historically, it has been the Democrats who have intentionally kept the black population in poverty. Specifically, it was Republicans who passed the 13th Amendment, which ended slavery, the 14th Amendment, which made black people citizens, and the 15th Amendment, which gave black people the right to vote. It was Republicans that passed the Civil Rights Acts of 1866, giving blacks the right to buy and own property, the Civil Rights Act of 1871 to protect blacks from the Ku Klux Klan, the Civil Rights Act of 1875, which gave blacks the rights to serve on a jury, the Civil Rights Acts of 1957 and 1960, and though in a minority position, most Republicans voted in favor of the Civil Rights Acts of 1964 and 1965. And when it comes to education, Republicans started both Spelman College and Howard University for blacks, and Republican President Dwight Eisenhower sent in the federal troops to escort black kids to school in Arkansas, a move that was dubbed the Little Rock Nine. Need work? It was Republicans that created 40 Acres and a Mule program for blacks. Now, if you have a hard time finding things before 1924, it's because prior to that, Democrats didn't allow blacks in the party. So what did the Democrats do for blacks? Well, they founded the Ku Klux Klan. They initiated draconian Jim Crow laws in 1877 that went into the 1960s and passed Lyndon Johnson's Great Society in 1964 that has to date spent over $22 trillion which increases by about $1 trillion a year. Now, that's 3 times the amount of money that the government spent on all military wars in its history from the Revolution to the present. And what have blacks gotten for all that money? The poverty rate hasn't changed one iota. And in fact, all that money has served to give rise to multi-generational welfare dependency. For the $2 trillion the government has spent on education since 1965, test scores have plummeted, and the achievement gap between minority students and their peers has barely budged. But worst of all, families, the fundamental core of any great society, have fared worse. The out-of-wedlock birth rate for the general population has ballooned from 8% in the mid-1960s to more than 40% today, and for blacks it's gone from 25% to 73%. At this point in history, can we solve the problem? Let me of life. Someone handed them a $100 bill, and every day of your life, someone handed you a $100 bill. Then one day they said, that wasn't going to happen anymore. You're on your own. How would you respond? And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
You're right. It's a tough problem. I mean, it's not only a marketing problem, which is how a lot of people frame it. It's a philosophical problem. And the net result is that the black people in America are almost as enslaved as they ever were.
And I think that's the truest statement of all. You're listening on Target Radio. It's AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Tonight our guest is an old friend and a great guy. It's the Reverend Dr. Eric. How are you doing this evening?
I'm great, Dave.
It's good to have you on.
And I appreciate what I appreciate your rant, because it's not something new.
No, it's not. And Reverend Wallace, to be fair, you have really been involved. You ran for the Congress, and I mean, you're in there fighting the fight. I guess my question about all this is pretty simple. The question's simple. The answer is not. But the question is it possible to unravel all this?
Well, let me read you a quote from Booker T. Washington. It shows that this is not a new phenomena. This has been around for quite some time, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. He said this: there's another class of colored people who make the business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public, having learned that they're able to make a living out of their troubles. They have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because they don't want to lose their jobs.
Did they know Jesse Jackson? Did Booker T. I honestly, and I rail about Al Sharpton and Jackson all the time. What I guess surprises me about that, and you may not want to comment, but why do people let them get away with that?
Because they've been taught that somehow these folks are going to do something for them. They're going to either get more government largesse, from the government, or get free phones, Obama phones, or what have you, and it keeps them. Unfortunately, they've been taught that somehow it's better for them to get something from the government that the government owes them, because of slavery or Jim Crow or what have you. That something is owed to them, and they don't understand that in getting this government largesse, it makes them more dependent on the government, and they just actually have gone right back into slavery, a different type of slavery, but it is slavery nonetheless. And this is actually, there's a title for this called The Politics of Racial Grievance. In other words, they're never going to there are certain people within the Democrat Party, liberals, who are never going to let white people off the hook. They're always going to continue to say, even though you've got the first black president.
Well, I know.
Even the first black president is not going to let white people off the hook. And they're going to continue to beat the drum and say, this is what you did to us. There's still a lot of racism. There's still systemic racism. There's all this thing, and then sometimes they just make it up. That's why whenever a white policeman shoots a black kid, no matter how infrequent it is, they're going to act as though it happens every single day of the week, and it's the worst thing that could ever. Now, obviously, when somebody gets shot, it's not a good thing. But sometimes people break the law, and they, as in Ferguson, the guy was actually reaching for the police officer's gun. So,
which does not get a lot of play.
No.
That's a
And
very
he had just robbed someone else and roughed him up.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
roughed
right,
up that
right.
store owner.
So he wasn't innocent.
Right. He wasn't exactly an upstanding member of society.
I don't know. I just don't know if we can ever reverse course.
Well, I think there's some hope, and for me as a minister of the gospel, for me it's the church has to lead the way. I think the Bible believing church, black church, and I know there's some liberals that don't believe the Bible, they just kind of make things up as they go. But those of us who actually believe the Bible to be the Word of God, there has to be some kind of reconciliation of the races, and we need to lead the way. We need to be able to say to white people, we forgive you. And because those of you who are here now didn't do anything to us anyway. You didn't enslave us. It was our ancestors back then. And so we need to be able to say, we reach out a hand of forgiveness. It's over. Let's live together as brothers and sisters in Christ, and let's move forward. This isn't about trying to stamp out every vestige of racism there is, because it's not going to happen.
No, and I think you're right. And when we come back after the short break, I want to talk a little more about that, because religion used to be a very major issue of the black community. They were very strong Christians, and I want to talk a little bit about that because it's a good point. You're listening on Target Radio, and we'll be back with more with the Reverend Wallace. You're listening to AM560 The Answer. We used to do. There's an area in Joliet, it's actually Lockport, called the Hill, which is where all the drugs and stuff are. But most of the people are good, nice people who live up there. And they used to do the Shiloh Baptist Church Festival every year. Religion is like a major, major issue with those folks. And we were up there, like, you provide security to the sheriff's department, and they would go, here's some tickets, go have some ribs. And there'd be like 8 or 10 6'6" black guys with baseball bats, and they just walk around the outside.
They're like, we really got the security handled.
Never any trouble, and we just got hung out. And they were so nice. I just don't. I don't understand. I don't think it can be reversed. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean,
those kids, those gangbangers don't. They don't believe in that.
Yeah. If we have time to circle back around to the welfare and all of that, one thing that I would like to say is that I don't see how you can
in this
feel that
country
you're not
illegally. The Joe
in
Walsh
slavery,
Show.
is that
Now,
you're
they
not
want them
trapped
here for different
when
reasons.
you have to work the
Democrats
system, and if
believe
you make
that
too
these
much money,
illegals
or
will vote for them.
that you have
Republicans
to
want the cheap labor.
the
vast majority of the Republican Party does what big business tells them to do. The Joe Walsh Show, weeknights starting at 5, right after
I don't
the show.
see how
at 2 on
that's
AM
not
560. The
slavery.
Answer.
That's not in practice.
It is, basically. I think it is.
Honestly, the solution begins with my generation. Shitty as we are. But honestly, though, I mean, I grew up in Naperville. I mean, obviously, it's a more privileged area than Joliet or places like that. But we were all fine with each other. One of my best, sounds like a typical white guy thing to say, but one of my best
friend is black.
One of my best friends is black. We played football with him. I drove him to school every morning. And tension there.
You drove him to school?
Yeah.
The chauffeur. Hey, you know what? Jews love Mercedes, and there's a lot of justice in that.
Yeah, but the tension comes from the older crowd. Kids my age aren't running around and beating each other.
But you're talking about, you know what, though, Brian, you're talking about people who are living in a better condition.
Yeah, that's why I said it's great.
There was one black family. I went to my class in high school. My class was 900 plus.
Yeah.
One black family. This guy was a neurosurgeon. He was as white as I was. You know, there was no ghetto mentality.
See, that's not. See, we're not talking black and white. We're talking about social economic status.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And that I get. People who. I really get that. If you're not fortunate enough to be affluent, I can understand where people would take that personally. I get that. The problem I have with that, and I think I've said this to you before, and I've said it on the show before, when I was dean at a private university, I would go in the city and I would go to inner city schools and I would say to junior class, I go, look, all you got to do is graduate. I got private money. You can get a college degree. We got that's what we got. And on a rare occasion, typically a girl who would say, really? They'd immediately get down on it.
You're listening.
How do you beat that?
On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David and Lombardo.
Oh, we got one.
This is David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more on Target Radio. If you love great Indian cuisine, then you must experience Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine in Schaumburg. Gaylord is so good that Gretchen and David eat there before the show. For over 38 years, 18 in Schaumburg, Gaylord has served an extensive menu of fine Indian cuisine. Signature dishes include tandoori jinga, jumbo prawns, chicken tikka masala, and the tangy and hot South Indian specialty lamb vindaloo. All dishes are prepared using only quality fresh ingredients, including the elaborate $13.95 lunch buffet that's cooked that morning. Manager Darren Dabrio invites you to come early when they open at 11:30 weekdays and noon on weekends to see the freshness for yourself. We recommend you skip breakfast and save your appetite. Gaylord can accommodate business meetings or events for up to 60 people. Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine is on Mall Drive, just south of Woodfield Mall. Call 847-619-3300 or visit GaylordIL.com. Gaylord Fine Indian Cuisine is the Mercedes of fine dining. 847-619-3300.
And we're back with more on Target Radio. Our guest this evening is the Reverend Dr. Eric Wallace, an old friend, been on the show a number of times, and we're talking about basically the racial divide. And when we left off in the last segment, I just made the comment. I mean, I don't know that we can patch it back up again.
Yes, I was trying to say, I believe it's the church's job actually to reach out and bring reconciliation between the races. Otherwise, you're correct. It's not going to happen because there's too many forces out there who actually gain from there being a divide between black and white. And now even with the gay lobby, they've even joined forces with that. So it's going to be difficult, but I think it can be done. Like I said, if the church itself, because there is no real black church and white church or Hispanic church really. There's just a church, a church body. Sure. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But we've allowed people to divide us and divide and conquer, and that's why you have many white evangelicals voting the Republican Party or voting conservative values. Or you have the black community voting, voting for people who really don't share their values. And the question is, why do we have almost a church, at least in the black community, why do we have almost a church on every street corner? Yet we still have the rioting, the looting, the rape, the poverty in the communities, and it doesn't seem to be changing. And that's one of the things that's really a pet peeve for me, is trying to talk to people and find out, what are we doing to try and transform people's lives?
Sure, and the level of violence. I mean, there was just you find this on YouTube periodically. Kids, a 12-year-old kid was beating up a 5-year-old kid, and they're cheering him on. I mean, that's just a different mindset. It really is. And the thing that you said over the break is really true. It tends to be really less color and more socioeconomic. We got Luis from Chicago who has a comment that he wants to make. Luis, good evening. How are you doing?
Yeah, hi. I agreed with your rant, but I think it's even worse than you said, David. The thing is with you have these people making these provocative statements like this Farrakhan guy talking about this flag issue and this and that. But here's a guy who belongs to a religion that's still practicing slavery, that still tolerates slavery, and they're worried about the flag from 100 years ago. Actually, this Nation of Islam, Muslims still tolerate slavery. So I can't understand it. I can't figure out. It's it's just like with the Democrats. How can anybody call themselves a Democrat when Democrats have murdered 20 million babies through abortion? And same thing. How can a black be a Muslim? When they still practice slavery. Something like the Stockholm syndrome or whatever. Where they become part of the group that enslaved them or that persecuted them. Like with Patty Hearst.
No, you're absolutely right, and it's. I don't know how you deal with that because there's a total disconnect. You're saying, religion, and with all due respect, they don't have religion. Gangbangers, the ones who are shooting each other every day, if they had an ounce of religion, they wouldn't be shooting children. We also have Peggy online. It's probably Peggy. Hi, Peggy. How are you doing this evening?
Hi.
It is.
I am a little concerned. As a matter of fact, I'm more than a little concerned, slightly panicked. I really, I think if you can get a gun, you should get a gun. If you can get a taser, get a taser. Because, you know, these people, I'm Christian, and, like, there's a thing in Ezekiel, the 39th chapter, and it says, you know, those islands who are living so safely and secure are going to be bombed with fire. That's a nuclear bomb. And I know that, you know, it's nothing to making a bomb. The problem is getting the fissionable material, and we've just gave.
Yeah, our president gives it away.
You're right. We've given them the ability to do that. So within 3 months to 9 years, they call us the Great Satan, and man, they're going to. And within, you know, if you drop an atomic bomb within 5 miles of the place where it drops, everything is
toast.
Vaporized. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're within 11 to like 30 miles, you have the firestorm, which burns you alive, takes all the oxygen out of the air, and you're just dead. Okay, beyond that point, you die of radiation poisoning.
All right, Peggy, appreciate you calling in, and thank you for such an uplifting moment. I was I'm not even going to drive home tonight. I'm just going to curl up in a fetal ball in the hallway. But it is, joking aside, you know, sometimes we take really serious stuff and make fun of it. Joking aside, this thing that's going on in the Middle East, I mean, he's just giving it away. I mean, that's scary, and that's not the topic for tonight. But this president has, I think, done more to fracture, what's the word I want? Fracture. Thank you very much. It's hard to believe I'm a journalist. To fracture our country than any time in the past. I really do. He's pitted group against group.
Yes, he's doing it on purpose. I'm slightly encouraged by some of the parents that I see on the news. Some of the mom that was out in the, you know, her son was looting and rioting, and she's she's beating him and saying, what the heck's the matter with you, and get back home. And the men, the Christian men who are standing in front of the police, protecting the police, you know, from the young people. I'm encouraged by that in the black community.
Well, there's a remnant of us who actually believe that the Bible is the Word of God, and we're out to try and do things to try and transform our communities. See, one of the things that we do with Freedom's Journal Institute, which is the organization that I'm over, is we're seeking to challenge the church in general, and the African American church in particular, to stand for what we say we believe. If you really believe that abortion is wrong, killing of a baby in the womb, then why are we voting for people who support that kind of stuff?
How many times have we said this? How many times have we said black should be and Hispanic should be Republicans?
Well, I know they should be conservatives. I'm not going to say the Republican thing, because I have my issue with the Republican Party, especially in Illinois.
Sure.
But I know what you mean. You know, I've run as a Republican. Got zero help from the Republican Party, but I ran as a Republican.
We helped you. We tried.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And I shouldn't say zero, because Ed Ronkowski and a few others,
was a big
you know, Wanda Cantrell and Donna Kankakee, they were helpful in my run. But from the state party or from the national party, you know, nothing.
Yeah.
But so and they're quick to sell out and say that it's, you know, we've had a number of Republicans say that it was all right to you know, for same-sex marriage, and I thought it was ironic that you were having riots in Baltimore with a bunch of young people, some of who didn't have fathers, you know, to discipline them, and yet the Supreme Court is trying to decide whether it's all right for two women to get married and two men to get married, and then of course if they're allowed to get married, they're allowed to raise children, and of course they'll be raised without either a mother, maybe not a mother in the house or not a father in the house. And we know that the best place for kids to be raised is with two loving parents, a mother and a father.
Absolutely.
And here they're trying to, you know, we're having rioting down, you know, 30 miles down the highway in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons people would say, sociologists would say, is because some of these kids don't have parents in the home. And we've got to stop that. You talked about the illegitimate rate within the African American community, 72, 73%.
Yeah.
And in the white community, it's
high too.
It's very high.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
even 40% in the general population, that's way too high.
Yeah. It's and we're almost out of time for the segment again, but no, you're absolutely right. It's, you know, the black community is part of the greater society. all of society right now. It's not just blacks. I mean, we're talking about the black thing because the gangbangers and all that, but the fact is you can look across the board and see these sorts of issues. White kids are doing the same sorts of things, not the gang stuff so much, but they're 40%, birth rate and that kind of thing. And it's the temperament, it's the law of
entropy.
Yeah, and law of entropy. It's just like unraveling. It's unraveling, and I look at that and I go, holy cripes, how can you pull it back? And that's what we're going to do. When we come back, we're going to solve this right here on this show.
We're going to fix it.
We're going to talk about your conference that's coming up when we come back.
All right.
So we're going to talk about that and more. Give us a call, 312-642-5600, and we'll be back with more on Target Radio after a few messages. And you're listening to AM560 The Answer.
I know, I was like, was that my chin?
Yeah. First Republican debate in the 2016 campaign.
All right, who hit the mic?
She was trying to eat it.
What just happened?
I've now growled and climbed.
Did you like
Thanks,
our new?
great,
Did you like our news thing?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's got to be a
Brian
statement.
made it.
You should actually have them hanging from the ceiling next to you.
That's right, we
So all
just
you have
pull
to do
them
is
down,
just
like-
go.
That would
Up
work
into it,
too.
and
But
then
I think the concept of one.
like the mask from the
She made
airplane.
you watch.
Yeah.
The concept of using it on certain occasions.
And it's funny to actually when you have to do it so
Exactly.
if they're hearing, they will hit in the studio.
Exactly.
That's
That's actually
Secretary asked
That's
for
my,
You're going to take care of these until
recruiting
until you leave?
That's my
deadly
what?
You're going to take care of these until you leave, right?
Some governors
And
now
then, but you're
are
gonna leave.
armed protection at National Guard
I'll do
facilities.
my best.
Literally instructing security Iran
All you would have to do is make a cylinder
knowing he won't get
with a
it in
thick
his
enough wall that you could serve it over and mold it. I'll do my best. I'll go out and get some aluminum. Make an aluminum Stetson.
Oh, Stetson.
All the things that we do.
That's what I want.
Or just take a Stetson and wrap aluminum around it.
I think that's what I just said. What's the gentleman's name in Baltimore that died in custody?
Who?
Freddie.
Oh, yeah.
Congress. A 60-day review period begins on Monday.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. Fox News report. You decide.
This is segment 3, yes. So you're coming back in, right, Rick? Okay, well.
We've got the answer.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And the phone's lit up again.
Peggy has been Eddie more updated.
Yeah, how the hell did she go from this to Iran? Like what?
What did she say? I'm frantic. What?
I'm frantic, a little worried. Get it under a taser, and I was like, no.
Some
I
people.
can't remember. I can't remember the exact word she used. I'm like, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, she called talking
Those,
about.
yeah, that was several weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Junction. Also pretty happy.
It's
We
the
have
same
fun.
lady.
We're going bankrupt, but we have fun.
Downtown, 27 minutes from the junction.
It's a very expensive time.
You must have some congregant who's a multimillionaire would sponsor a radio show. After he sponsors you, of course.
Northbound heavy between
Yeah.
15th and Roosevelt.
Playing the lottery, that's about the
Yeah, that's my retirement plan. Yeah.
81.
52 million.
15 minutes.
Is it up
And
to 52
AM560
million?
The Answer.
152 million. I just want to say this on the public record because you're all my friends and I love you dearly. If I won 150 million, I would never see any of you again as long as I live. I would be out of here.
Oh, come on. You must do a radio show.
Oh yeah, I'd be doing it like in
Yeah, you phone it in,
You'd
right?
be in like
Bahamas or
Belize.
something. I'd be in Belize.
I'd be in Hong Kong.
That's where I'd be,
Yeah,
in
see.
Hong Kong, with a radio show in communist China. I think that's not going to work well.
Yeah.
Got enough money to do it. You just pay the right people.
Yeah, but they're idealized. They'll fry you if you don't say the right
They
thing.
probably won't understand you.
Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in
Yeah.
this one-of-a-kind Illinois
I do
concealed
love
carry
Hong Kong.
program. It also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits.
So,
Find out over 6,000
we do have,
spots
there's a call
already
on, I don't
at
know what it's going to be.
saferusa.com.
We may go, if it's something
Or call
worthwhile, we may go there.
877-954-3030. That's 877-954-3030. Safe
I hope it's
You gotta have a little bit of time to
Firearm
talk
is your
about this.
business. Teaching you
The conference.
You have two segments.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, two, possibly 3 segments.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you get 6.5 minutes, and then you get 7 minutes.
We could do segment 6. We could do the whole thing, segment 6. Just talk about it. You got enough to go 10 minutes?
I mean, it's all tied into what we've been talking about
I
already.
know, but I mean, if you got.
So it's easy to tie it in.
I mean, we could do segment 6 on that. Instead of doing it here, we can do it. Well, we'll do it here. We'll at least do it here.
Get it over the air.
Yeah. This is
I got you. I got you.
The Illinois
Wanna
State
do
Rifle
both.
Association supporting you. Kids, you need a makeover?
Yowza Yowza. So this is our third segment.
Raise more questions
If the
than
call's
answers. The
any
answer is
worthwhile,
Stone
that's
City.
fine.
2
But we got
million square feet
6.5 minutes
of
now,
granite
7
countertops
minutes the
and
next one.
colors
How long do you need,
Taking a
Gretchen?
really long time.
Plus the latest appliances, cabinetry, faucets, and fixtures.
2:15, 2.5, like that.
Okay, and then we got nothing else, so we got that.
West Brandon, Chicago, or call 773-533-9806.
Is the call worthwhile? That's what I want to know.
Really long time. I'm guessing no.
Stone City, it's your home.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is taking.
These are usually the ones where he comes in and goes, "We were drunk."
Yeah,
Well, it could be Russ calling in too.
Comments, embarrassing pictures, videos, legal documents, and bad tweets can ruin your personal life.
You know, I'm a statistic here. It says that Los Angeles, that Chicago shootings, more shootings in Chicago than LA and New York combined.
Get a free consultation now at 800-651-4888. That's 800-651-4888. Call right now for a free expert reputation analysis. It's easy to squash the unfair attacks with our patented system, and the analysis is absolutely free. Make the best things about you jump out in searches. Protect your personal and professional reputation, your business, and your income. Get your free reputation analysis right now. Call 800-651-4888. 800-651-4888. 800-651-4888.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more On Target Radio. Hi, I'm Rick Cizak, Advertising Sales Director for the On Target Media Group. If you own a small business and need more exposure to potential customers, and what small business doesn't, we can help. For over 2.5 years, the On Target Media Group has been helping small businesses grow. We offer many different and affordable marketing packages through our partnership program. Plus, we can even create a custom program tailored to your business's needs. To find out more, contact me today at sales.ontargetradio@gmail.com or visit our website at otmediagroup.net/sponsorship. We look forward to helping your business reach its target.
We do indeed. You're listening to On Target Radio. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. We're talking with the Reverend Dr. Eric Wallace. And we've been talking about racial divide and kind of everything that that goes in touch with that. The healing, is it possible to heal? And you have a conference coming up the end of the month, isn't it?
Yes, July 31st.
At which we will be there.
Yes, you will.
On Target Radio, we'll have our booth. We'll be there. And big support.
Unless we see you first, and we'll lock the doors. No, I'm just kidding.
Cut his mic off, George. He's done. That's it.
We're sneaky. We're like the sneakiest white people you've ever known.
You guys are white?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'm
sorry
Sicilian.
To break it to you.
I don't know.
I'm sorry to break it to you.
Some of my best friends are white.
There we go. I have a black friend and a Chinese guy, too. Okay, so now we've hit the racist buttons all the way around.
I'm going to tell you about the conference.
Yeah, let's play safe ground. Go to the conference. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, July 31st. It's the last Friday of the month. We have what we call the FJI, which stands for Freedom's Journal Institute, RISE Initiative. The actual theme is In Defense of Life, Why All Lives Matter. It's kind of a takeoff on the current events where a lot of people were saying, do black lives really matter and all this. And we're trying to say that all lives matter and why all lives matter. But one of the things we wrote on here is that it's not a new question that pro-lifers have been asking. Do black lives really matter? Others have been asking this question ever since Roe v. Wade. But where are the cries for 1,000 black babies killed every day? Where's the outrage for the hundreds of black males being incarcerated, or the disgrace concerning black-on-black crime? Where are the voices calling for school choice and public education? And where are those who are truly concerned about issues such as economic empowerment? And we want to talk about these. We're interested in talking about being pro-life on a broader scale. Sometimes we get hit as conservatives that we only care about babies when they're in the womb. We're trying to say, even though that's important, obviously, if they're not born, then they don't have any kind of rights to fight for.
The starting point.
But we want to say, no, we care about every stage of life. We want people to have abundant life. Jesus said, I come that you may have life and have it to the full. And as a Christian, I believe that everybody has a God-given right, that everybody is created in the image of God and has some potential. And a lot of people aren't reaching that potential, unfortunately. And some of it's because of the race baiters that are out there trying to say it's white people's fault. You're not able to do this, that, or the other. And we want to talk about this as conservatives. Now we have Dr. Ben Carson, who's coming to speak at this event, and Governor Huckabee will also be there around lunchtime. But we also have other people who are coming to talk about these things. One of the first things we're going to do is going to talk about the challenges that are facing the pro-life movement. And then we have a panel that's going to talk about the future of the pro-life movement. I would name some names. I don't know how much time we have to go through this.
You got 2 minutes. Well, you got about 1:45, right, for this segment. Then we have another segment. So
okay, we have John Morales, who did the film called 40 film. We have Emily Zender, who's the head of Illinois Right to Life, and we have Walter Hoy, who's head of the Black pro-life movement. We have Mike Batzel. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, from the national. He's not the executive director of American Majority, who's going to talk about building a grassroots machine that lasts. Now, I have to apologize to Ed Ronkowski. So I was at his meeting. I was talking about how we build coalitions that last. But it's actually building grassroots machine that lasts, because we have election coming up, and we need to be able to build these coalitions among conservatives. Then we'll have the lunch. We'll have the candidates get up and speak for about a half hour. Then we've got a guy from the Institute for Creation Research is going to talk about, they have a production that they have coming out soon called Made in His Image. And it'll talk about how we're made in the image of God, which is why actually answers the question why all life matters. Because we're created in the image of God. Therefore, God has a stamp of approval on us. It says we're important to Him. Therefore, we should be important to each other and help one another reach our fullest potential. And then lastly, we have, we got one other called All Lives Matter, Defending Life from the Womb to the Tomb. Natalie Decker, who's with Alliance Defending Freedom. She's one of those lawyers who's going to come in and talk about how we do this, how we talk about these issues, especially now that gay marriage is a law of the land. And then lastly, we have a panel of pastors and say, what is the role of the church?
Sounds like a good lineup.
Sounds jam-packed.
And we'll be there. You can come and say hi to us, and we'll all go in it and we'll participate. We're going to be back. We'll talk some more about that, and we'll be back with the Reverend Dr. Eric Wallace after a few messages. You're listening on Target Radio, and this is AM560 The Answer. Boom. Got it in, didn't you?
I didn't tell them how much it is, but
well, we got another segment. This one is 7 and a half. Yeah, 7.
Stuck in traffic? We've got your answer from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
We could continue. We could do the segment 6 on ongoing questions. How are we going to solve the problem, or what do we need to do? I don't know.
Okay.
It's not like there are good answers. One of the only things that I have ever stuck up Rahm Emanuel and Gary McCarthy with Superhead of Police is the people who go, you should be doing something about this. What are they going to do? You know, it's a social thing. It's a family thing. No chief of police can solve that problem. All they do is clean the record. That's the only break I give those guys. But that's unjust to expect that they're going to resolve that issue.
But there's a number of different things that can be done. Let's have policies that help promote family life. How about that? How about we look at that and say how does this new policy affect family? We raise the minimum wage $15 an hour. How's that going to affect the family? Instead of saying, well, workers will have more money. And I so much want to reach through the television and choke Geraldo Rivera.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
He's such a rhino.
Well, he's a compensation. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He's just so holier than thou.
Yeah. You know, he and Bowling almost got into it, or they did get into it. He and Eric Bowling.
Oh, you're talking about the dude with the mustache?
Geraldo.
Yes.
I was just telling them sometimes I just want to reach through television.
Has anyone ever watched Geraldo without wanting to slap him? I mean, I know Jesse Raphael feels on the subject.
I wanted to see what was in Al Capone's safe.
Oh yeah, the one empty bottle and
Exactly.
I watched that show. I was like,
You want to see what?
I watched that show.
I know, and it was nothing.
I was like in high school or something.
Yeah.
I was like, what the
How can you put anybody on the TV with a mustache like that?
He's got money.
I mean, there are certain levels of facial hair that are acceptable, but like, come on.
Yeah, there's got to be like food and stuff.
The interesting
There's got to be
thing-
like organisms.
The interesting thing about Geraldo Rivera is if you go back and look at he was at University of Arizona or Arizona State, I don't remember which. It was Jerry Rivera. Then they were hiring minorities.
Geraldo.
All of a sudden, Jerry, did you know? All of a sudden, Jerry was Geraldo, and he became very ethnic.
Well, same thing.
That's how he got the job.
Same thing with Obama when he was in school. Everybody called him Barry.
Barry, right.
You want a funny one? You can find it somewhere on the internet. Find Don Lemon's CNN original CNN audition. It's awesome.
We're on the radio.
We're back.
We have a radio
What are we
show.
doing?
With more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more on Target Radio. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. We're having a really good, I think a really good discussion this evening. Our guest is the Reverend Dr. Eric Wallace is on with us, and it's the interesting thing about this is we can talk about this, but there are a lot of people you can't even talk about this. If you're a white guy, you can't talk about this.
Yeah, that's true.
You're just not allowed to, and that's part of the problem.
I'm sure you can talk about it. They'll just call you a racist.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Well, that's kind of what I meant.
Yeah, that's
And
You
they'll
can't talk about it without being called racist.
Yeah.
And they'll call me Uncle Tom because I
Well-
don't agree with them. So
Well, and I wasn't going to say this, but you brought it up. Do you catch flack?
Well, there are people who don't know me who write some nasty stuff on Facebook or something like that. But generally people who know me, they know that I'm consistent in what I say and what I believe, and so after a while you get the respect factor if you're not changing what you believe, despite the odds against you running for office, in a heavily Democrat district where people just vote the Democrat Party because there's a D behind their name. They don't even know who the person is, but
They don't care.
But they know that that's a Republican, and I can't vote for a Republican.
I said to Gretchen at dinner, you're the only guy I know that wrote a book that bared your soul, and you're neither a recovering alcoholic or drug addict. I mean, you actually, I very much enjoyed your book because you
I
just laid
explained
it
it's
out.
a Christian thing.
But you just laid out who you were, where you came from, and you said I've made mistakes, and you talked about them. And you're not a recovering alcoholic or drug addict.
Well, I'm a recovering sinner. See, the Bible says we're all saved by grace, and that everyone is turned away. And so, unfortunately, those, when Christians do get up and they talk about how they have a stance against homosexuality or homosexual marriage and so forth, it's not because we don't like homosexuals or we hate them or anything. It's because the Bible itself says that those who practice such things are going to wind up in hell. So if we love them, we're going to say something to them and say, hey, you need to stop this kind of behavior, or look at what the text says about this kind of behavior as a Christian. You're going the wrong way. It's like somebody going down the street where the bridge is out, and if they keep going, they're going to fall off the bridge. Well, if you care about them, if you love them at all, if you have any sense and decency, you're going to wave your arms and try to get them to stop and say, stop. You're going the wrong way. You're going to end up going off, and if they ignore you and decide to go already, go ahead already. You've at least done your part to try and stop them.
Gave it your best shot.
Yes. So we're trying to give our best shot to warn people, to tell people, hey, there's a different way. There's a different way you can go. There's a different way in the black community you can go. There's a different way that conservative principles and values will help turn your life around. There's one thing I do want to make clear about the difference in my mind between liberals and conservatives. A lot of liberals want to get rid of any kind of struggle for anything. They want the outcomes to be the same. They want everybody to have the same stuff,
right,
but without having to work for it or struggle. Conservatives, and at least Christian conservatives, understand that, part of character building is the struggle. You can't have everything you want without the struggle. There's always going to be some kind of letdown. There's going to be some kind of hurdle you have to get over. You're going to have to go to school. You're going to get that A. You're going to have to, if you want to play sports, sometimes you're going to lose. And part of that is character building. Part of that is how you become a better person. And suffering, if you will, is part of becoming a good human being, getting over it, getting through it. And when liberals do what they do, it causes people to be underdeveloped. Arrested development, I guess is what we call it.
Yeah.
And people never develop. And that's why we have people robbing stores. We have these mobs, black mobs, that run into stores and steal stuff and then run out.
See, my doctor, is a specialist I go to, and he's from Korea. He's top drawer doctor, and he's a very nice guy. But he made this comment. He goes, in America, CEOs of corporations make $20 million. They make that's too much money. Some of that money should go to people who don't make money. And I go, wait a minute. Why should that be? Well, because it's not fair. Whoa. If a person, and I used him, I said, you're a doctor, you went to medical school, you struggled, you did all you had to do. Now you have a practice and you got a partnership. I said, you make money. Well, but I don't need all that money. I said, you give it away? Well, no, but,
Right.
And so it's people, who was it? Was it Maggie Thatcher that said the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of the other guy's money?
Yeah, other people's money. Right.
And that's it. And you've hit the nail on the head. If you give people stuff, they don't respect getting it. And they just assume that they should have it.
Yeah, and from a capitalistic standpoint as well, just because I can get stuff, you get no choice in that matter. If you get the Obama phone, they tell you what phone you can have. Whereas if I work hard, I can have a $600 Samsung. I can have whatever phone I want. And I think that's sometimes what people don't understand is there's stuff and then there's stuff. I mean, do you want to have a choice or do you not want to have a choice? And that's, to me, that's what it comes down to, is I would rather struggle and work hard to be able to make those choices of I want to live here or I want to buy this or buy that, but not buy this and that.
And interestingly enough, really wealthy people tend to generally be very high donors to, social causes and things like that.
Conservatives are more generous than
liberals. Yeah. There's studies been done that show that.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is hysterical. All right, we gotta run, take another break. We're gonna come back, and Gretchen will do her little piece about what's coming up in the next week. And I think we'll talk more about segment 6 when we come back. So all that and more on Target Radio, and you're listening to AM560 The Answer.
I still need to mention.
I certainly am a loser. That works out for me. Yeah. Well, you know what? Nobody has a charmed life. No matter how much you look at somebody and it looks like they do, they don't.
So they can sign up.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Dave?
I'm actually going to say that in my thing too, but you can say it too.
Say what?
Go to the website to register.
Oh, I'm going to, when she's done with her stuff, then I'm going to say that. And your, what do you call it? Newsletter that comes, I get it a couple times a week probably.
What, Freedom Journal?
Yeah. We call it a newsletter?
No, well, I'm trying to get them to sign up for the event, July 31st.
No, but I'm going to get, what we're going to do is give you a shameless plug for everything.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to tell them how do you...
It's all the same. We have a new website now. The Freedom Journal Institute has incorporated Freedom Journal Magazine.
Okay.
Okay, because they wouldn't make any money anyway, so might as well go to the nonprofit.
You're talking to the choir.
Yeah, he knows all about that.
So the Freedom Journal Institute is the umbrella, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay. So if you got about 2.5 minutes, that'll give us, not a lot, but you have about a minute or so, minute and a half. Okay. Oh, the phone lit up again. Great.
Oh.
It'll work if it's John. We'll tell him you got 3 seconds and he'll do it. Oh, it is. You're right.
Yeah, there's like nothing. No one's on Facebook tonight.
Oh, New Jersey, yeah. I haven't.
It was like 10 or 11, and now it's checked down to what, 7
It's still up, though. I mean, for us, that's big time
At
for
least
that.
the 2 or 3 that we had on YouTube.
Yeah.
Here we go. You're all set to go, are you?
Ready.
Okay.
Conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back with more on Target Radio, and now it's time for Gretchen to tell you what's coming up.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
Governor Rauner signed SB 836, known as the Concealed Carry Cleanup Bill, into law last week. It took effect immediately. The ISRA sent out the highlights of the law, but if you would like to read the full text, go to www.ilga.gov and search for SB 836. I put the link on our Facebook page last week. The women's holster class that I teach is changing to a girls' night in format only. The class addresses firearm selection, rationale for female-specific holsters, demonstration of about 9 holsters, and plenty of time to try them on and discuss concealed carry. If you would like to schedule a fun, informative get-together for 4 or more women, contact me or David directly by email, phone, or Facebook. Come meet on Target Radio on Friday, July 31st at the 2015 RISE Initiative in Defense of Life Conference at the Tinley Park Convention Center, hosted by Freedom's Journal Institute and featuring Governor Mike Huckabee and Dr. Ben Carson. Order your tickets through Eventbrite. I put the link on our Facebook page this afternoon. You still have time to vote for the Illinois State Rifle Association to receive the $100,000 from LuckyGunner.com. Just go to LuckyGunner.com/Brady-V-Lucky-Gunner and vote for the ISRA. The following Safer USA classes are all at our office in Waterman. Saturday and Sunday, July 25th and 26th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry, as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Saturday, July 25th, Tactical Rifle and Pistol Gun Employment, taught by Eric. Saturday and Sunday, August 8th and 9th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. Sunday, August 9th, Know Your AR Platform Rifle 1 and 2, taught by Eric. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on Register.
Thank you, Gretchen. We've been talking this evening with Reverend Dr. Eric Wallace. Eric, tell me about Freedom's Journal Institute, the conference, and your publication you put out.
Well, Freedom's Journal Institute, as I told you, was started. Actually, we had started the magazine before we started the institute, and the magazine was to challenge the black church, well, the church in general, and the black church in particular, to stand for what we say we believe. I'll get that out. And then we started thinking about doing a Black Conservative Summit, and we noticed that people did summits like that generally had 501c3s or C4s. So we started the 501c3, and actually just got it this year, earlier this year.
Oh, really? Yeah.
The 501c3 came through from the IRS. And of course, we were sweating bullets when we put that through because everything was going on.
Eric, so, I did it for guns, so I got it through with guns. So
Yeah, but we got conservative all plastered all over our stuff. We weren't even trying to hide it. Didn't know that we should. So it was all out there. So anyway, we got that. So the magazine talks about conservative ideas and principles and things like that. The institute itself now, like you said, we put on the in defense of life, where all life matters. And that'll be like July 31st. It's $80 for an individual, $750 for a table of 10. So you can get 10 people together to buy a ticket. You save $5 a piece. And it's freedomsjournalinstitute.org. freedomsjournalinstitute.org, where you find the agenda.
Okay, we're going to do segment 6. We're going to carry on this conversation. So do come to segment 6, which you can get on
YouTube.
YouTube,
right?
Go to youtube.com/OnTargetRadio. And you can check it out there or find the link on Facebook.
All right, and thank you for listening to On Target Radio. And be sure to listen next week when we'll be covering, I think we're going to have Paul Kopis, the retired sheriff of Will County.
We'd also like to thank the Reverend Wallace, George Hoffman on the board, our social media coordinator and ad sales director, Rick Cizak, our intern, Brian Schmalt, and our sponsors, DS Arms, Gaylord's Fine Indian Cuisine, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, Stone City Kitchen and Bath Design Center, and Safer USA.
And as always, thanks, Mike, for making it all happen.